So if you are thinking about or still right now charging $120 or $150 or even $200 per coaching session, please, I beg you, stop doing that. Because what I'm going to attempt to do in this video is to show you with very simple math why that model quietly caps your income, burns you out, and keeps you stuck looking like a professional while you're getting paid like a hobbyist. And then I'm going to show you what to do instead. So let me give you context and actually a concrete example on this. So I have a coach that I worked with, and let's call her Lisa. Her name is not Lisa, okay. But she was charging around $120 per session. On Instagram, Lisa looked great. One-on-one clients, busy calendar, testimonials. But here's what was actually happening under the hood. Because once you open that hood, you see a lot of things. So Lisa, she was seeing around 20 sessions per week at $120 per session. That's around $2,400 a week, right? On paper, that's around $9,600 per month. Not terrible. Not too shabby. But now let's subtract a couple things. Taxes, payment processing fees, software like Zoom, scheduling, CRM, email, etc., continuing education, right? Because all of those things are important. But also the big one, the unpaid hours she spent on content, admin, prep work, follow-ups, and all of those things. When we calculated her actual real hourly rate, including all of the invisible work, it came out to be closer to about $30 to $40 an hour. And my dear friend, that is not a coaching business. That's an underpaid job that happens to be self-employed. But the worst part is, using that model of selling sessions, right, selling your time for money, there's no way to grow the business without stuffing more people into the calendar. Which means that if Lisa wanted to double her business, she literally had to double the hours that she worked. And the problem isn't that she's lazy or that her niche is bad. The problem is that the pricing model itself, it just does not work. I really want to drive this point home. So let me give you 3 reasons why this pricing model is so bad. Reason number 1, and this is really important, it puts a really hard ceiling in your income. So let's say, for example, you want to make $200K a year from your coaching business, from your coaching income. At $120 per session, you need around 1,670 sessions per year. That's roughly 32 sessions a week for 52 weeks. Now ask yourself, could you do 32 highly quality one-on-one sessions every single week consistently without your brain melting? Let me answer that for you. No, you couldn't. For 52 weeks? Without a margarita on the Bahamas, without a vacation? That's not happening. But listen, even if you increase the price, even if you double it, you're still going to have a cap. Whether it's going to be at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, you're still going to have a cap because you're trading time for money. So the math of your model that you are implementing right now, or you're thinking about implementing, it makes getting to your goal literally impossible without burning out. So you picked a game that you really can't win. Now, reason number 2, charging per session turns you into a commodity. When you price per session, people really unconsciously, they put you in the same bracket, they put you in the same level as a massage, a haircut, a one-off appointment. They start comparing you on price per hour, not on value. Because if Susie comes along and she starts charging $90 per hour whilst you're charging $120, you look expensive, even if your work is life-changing and better than Susie's. Listen, just like I say in my pricing playbook, there's no strategic benefit for being the second cheapest in the market. But there is a benefit into being the most expensive with the most and the highest value. And also, let me be honest, if someone comes to you with a problem that they have no idea how to fix, and now you present the solution in packages or sessions and things like that, now you put the burden on them to try to figure out which package or which combination or how many sessions are best for them to get to the result that they want to achieve. They're coming to you because you're the expert. You should know how long and how often they should meet for you to get them to the goal that they want to achieve, for you to take them to that journey, to those milestones. So when you put that burden on the person that is already in pain, already in discomfort, that is just not a good outcome. That's why maybe get people to say, okay, I'm going to think about it, and then they come back and they don't come back or they ghost you. So that's the other reason as well, that's having just this random odd sessions like that does not work for you long term. Okay, so reason number 3 why you shouldn't have a pay per session model for your coaching business is that it decouples pricing from value. So let me explain. Session pricing charges for time, not for the outcome. Think about this. If you help someone save their marriage, change careers, or add another $100,000 in their business in 12 weeks, does it make sense that your price is 12 times $120? No. That is just an accident in the calendar. What you want is pricing to be tied to the value created over time, not the number of Zoom calls you're going to jump into. So if you're still thinking about charging per session $120 or whatever the amount is, your model is really three things: hard capped by your energy, it's pushing you into a commodity land, and that's something not something you want, and also it's completely disconnected from the true value you create, because now people just base on the dollar amount, not the value, not the transformation, not the outcome. So here comes the million-dollar question. So if $120 per session is the wrong game, what game should you be playing instead? So the better model is programs and not sessions. Okay, let me break this down into 3 steps so that makes it much easier for you to follow. Okay, so step 1, calculate your ceiling and decide if you like it. Okay, first of all, let's start with the end in mind. What is the actual numbers, right? Start with the first one, which is most importantly, what is your real goal? 10K per month, 20K per month, 50K per month? And please, be serious about this. Be honest. This is not the time for you to be humble about how much you need or how much you want per month. I see people go, oh, if I made 4K or 5K, that'll be fine. Susie, can you live comfortably with that money? Is that realistic with the credit card debts you have to pay, with the house you have to pay, with the kids going to college? Be realistic. We cannot be humble about this. It is money, and somehow money is connected to being evil. It's not evil. It's what brings food to the table, gets the kids to college, and makes sure that you are comfortable. What is that goal? Real goal. Not that, oh my God, I'll be okay with 4K. No. If it's 10K for you to be comfortable, it's 10K. If it's 15, it's 15. If it's 20, it's 20. And actually, whatever the number is, I challenge you to double it. Because I know that still, even me telling you this, you're still going to downplay yourself. So whatever the number is, if you say, okay, Sally, it's 10,000, double it. Now let's do a little math. At $120 per session, how many sessions does that require you to do weekly? So take the number that you want to make per month and divide by 120, and that will tell you roughly how many sessions you have to do per month. And then if you divide that by 4, it gives you how many sessions you have to do per week. Now look at that number and tell me, is that even humanly possible for you to do, including the marketing and admin that requires in the business? And also other outside things you have to do, because you have a life outside of your business. So other responsibilities, is that humanly possible for you to work those hours to get to that goal? You know what's crazy? For most coaches, seeing that math in black and white, those numbers, is enough for them to realize, okay, this is insane. I cannot do this. I need a different model. Awesome. So now that we have that understanding, let's go to step number 2. Step number 2 is all about package the outcome into a program price. So in this step, I want you to take the transformation that you deliver and package it into a program with a fixed price. So instead of $120 per session and then we'll see how it goes, you want something like, it's a 12-week program to get you from point A to point B for $2,000, $3,000, or $5,000. So for example, you can say things like, I help new mothers lose pregnancy weight in 12 weeks for XYZ, for the amount of money. So that now, you're not just a personal trainer or a nutritionist that's charged per session, you are giving them the complete package. 12 weeks to get to the goal, and this price. No longer trading time for money. Because the cool thing is that now your price is tied to the value of the problem that you solve, the likelihood of success, and also the speed and also the ease for the client. Not tied to how many times you open your Zoom app. Now, programs are awesome because they let you make more profit per client, because you know exactly they're going to pay everything up front or in installments, and you know exactly how long they're going to stay. You work with fewer clients at a time, and also you deliver better results because you're not frantic. You know exactly what process they're going through. They're not coming in this week and then they have a 3-week gap and then they come in the next week. You can follow them week by week. Actually, in my pricing playbook, I talk about this, that raising prices gives you more gross profit and fewer customers to serve, which actually just cuts costs and frees more time for you, which is good. So you can go to the beach and sip on those margaritas. So the third step is very easy. You stop telling people what your hourly rate is. So no more, okay, it's $120 per session. Okay, it's $150 per session. How many would you like? No. From now on, it's here's the program. Here's how we'll work on it. Here's how much the investment is. And here's how you'll know that it worked. Simple. And actually, when you do that like that, you look more put together. You look like you know what you're talking about because you're certain. You go, okay, this is exactly what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to guide you through the steps. And let me give you a little something. If someone insists they just want one session, you have 2 options. You can say no, That's not something I do. Go to Susie, she does that. Or you can charge a ridiculous premium rate for a 90-minute deep dive that's intentionally less attractive than the full program. But your default is always the program pricing. When I work with the coaches, I actually raise prices until their close rate drops to a healthy range. You don't want 80 to 90% close rates on sales calls. You don't want that. Actually, that's a bad thing because that's a sign that you are undercharging. What do you mean that 80 to 90% of people that jump on a call with you say yes on the first go? You say, okay, it's $120. Okay, let's do it. That's bad. You might think that, oh my God, that's awesome. Everyone that I talk to, they say yes. A healthy close rate is around 40 to 50%. When you get to 50, I start to already think, okay, we're leaving money on the table because people saying yes too easily. You want the close rates to be actually not so easy, not so fast for people to say yes to. That's how you know you're leaving money on the table. What I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to do for you is that the goal is not for you to be the coach for everyone who can afford. The goal is to build a business that actually works. I'll see you in the next one.